Hello, everybody. How are you all? It's me, Nupur. Welcome, everybody, to my YouTube channel, Nature at the Very Core of Science. In my last sitting, we talked about the topic, what is that stain in Aung San Suu Kyi's great legacy? In the previous video, we saw how Aung San Suu Kyi lost her husband, Michael Aries, and how she had to spend day after day under house arrest. Now, we would like to move to the next chapter of Suu Kyi's life and see how everyone's once favorite democracy worshipper slowly walked the path of a radical change. What could be the reason behind it? So, let's begin today's journey. Suu Kyi was unanimously elected as Myanmar's president in 2015, but was barred from assuming the role of head of state because her two sons are foreign nationals. Instead, she was officially given the title of state councillor, although it was clear that she was Myanmar's de facto leader, as her dignified father Aung San had been decades earlier. In 2017, during Suu Kyi's tenure as state councillor, the horrific massacre took place. Thousands of Rohingya Muslims have been raped and killed by Myanmar's army in apparent retaliation following attacks on officers at several police outposts in Myanmar's Rakhine state. But Suu Kyi did not say a word at that time. She kept silent. People erupted in fury, anger, frustration, and heated debate erupted around Suu Kyi. Suu Kyi's supporters argue that the country has a violent history of junta rule, adding that she has considerable difficulty governing a multi-ethnic country. Those were simply lame excuses. But Suu Kyi, at that time 74, had no explanation for what she did next. Addressing a bench of 17 judges from around the world at the International Court of Justice in The Hague in 2019, Suu Kyi rejected reports of state violence against the Rohingya Muslim minority and blamed the conflict on insurgency fueled by sectarian forces. She called allegations of Rohingya genocide against Myanmar's army incomplete and misleading picture of the real situation. The burning of Rohingya villages had been independently confirmed by satellite images, and the UN has called the situation a textbook example of genocide. Yet Aung San Suu Kyi has denied any ethnic cleansing and dismissed numerous claims of sexual violence against Rohingya women as fake rape. This untruth of her own statement completely tarnished her great legacy for so long. Suu Kyi was the apple of the international community's eye, but her image of moral fortitude has been shamefully shattered in public. International human rights organizations were shocked by the stark contrast between the 1991 Nobel Peace Prize winner Suu Kyi and today's Suu Kyi, the main denier of the brutal truth of ethnic violence against the Rohingyas. She was once a great inspiration to mankind, but because of her silence on the plight of the Rohingya in Myanmar, she is now complicit in crimes against humanity. Suu Kyi has knowingly betrayed the Rohingyas. In 2018, the US Holocaust Memorial Museum revoked Suu Kyi's Elie Wiesel Award. There was no end to the humiliation. In a unanimous decision on Monday evening, 28 November 2017, Oxford City Council voted to strip the Burmese state councillor of the award she received in 1997 and collected personally in 2012 after 15 years under house arrest. It is so sad that Aung San Suu Kyi has been stripped of the Freedom of Oxford Award by the city's council over her failure to speak out on abuses against Myanmar's Rohingya. Following the UN report on the massacre by the Myanmar army, many dignitaries also signed a petition to revoke Suu Kyi's Nobel Peace Prize. At least the Nobel Committee doesn't take back awards for good deeds in the past, so it is safe for Suu Kyi. But what about the sheer frustration and shame that goes along with the whole thing? Critics claim that Aung San Suu Kyi made the surprising decision to appear in court to contest the well-documented genocide claims because she knew her denials would boost her popularity with voters in Buddhist-majority Myanmar. Yes, that is exactly what was revealed in the November 8, 2020 presidential election when Suu Kyi's NLD won with a huge majority. This was the second competitive election since the end of totalitarian military rule in 2011. The main national opposition party, the junta-founded Union Solidarity and Development Party or USDP, suffered an even more humiliating defeat than in 2015. On 1st February 2021, the Myanmar military overthrew the NLD and seized power in a coup citing voter fraud. Suu Kyi and other members of the NLD were arrested by the junta. Suu Kyi was sentenced to 33 years in prison on various charges. The solitary cell of Naypyidaw prison became Lady, as Suu Kyi is called by everyone in Myanmar, the address. The United Nations, most European countries, and the United States have loudly condemned Suu Kyi's arrest, trial, and sentence as politically motivated. On August 1, 2023, Suu Kyi's sentence was reduced to 27 years by junta chief Senior General Min Aung Hlaing. Well, why suddenly junta became such good people? Because Suu Kyi has in the past covered up Hlaing's anti-human activities regarding the Rohingya genocide from the outside world? Is this the reason? Or is this the strategy to normalize the bitter relationship with the whole world or ASEAN? Who knows? Time will tell. To Western policymakers, the nearly 79-year-old Suu Kyi is still important in the fight for democracy because Myanmar has not yet recovered from separatist unrest and instability. But now that a new generation of leaders has emerged in Myanmar who demand more attention, Suu Kyi no longer has as much influence as she used to. Suu Kyi is locked up in Naypyidaw and is not allowed to speak to anyone except carefully vetted individuals. So it is difficult to know what she is thinking and planning for the future. But one thing is clear. Politically weak, morally compromised, and far removed from the public stage, Aung San Suu Kyi cannot yet be dismissed as a factor in the power games playing out in and around Myanmar.